God's given us the privilege and an honor to work with the Mark and Huldah Buntain Ministry in Calcutta, India.
And one of the first trips, I fell in love with two little boys there. And they were in the orphanage, but they were going to our school there. They became our foster sons, and we supported them all those years until they graduated. My son and I have an antique store, and he got off work that day, and he came in, and he looked at me and he said, "Mom, I'm going to call the doctor. You need to go out to quick care." And I said, "I'm fine. I didn't know I was sick." And he said, "No, you look like you don't feel well." And so he called his dad, and his dad came and got me. And when I got there, I went up to fill out some papers, and that's the last thing I remember. And when I fell, my husband, Dwain, came in and he caught me.
She looked at me, smiled with the most beautiful smile she's ever had, and she just collapsed in my arms. While the doctor was working on him, we were praying, we were crying. I'd never experienced this. I was with my father when he passed away, and we was with her mother when she passed away, but this was my wife. This was different.
And then they called an ER doctor, and then he said, "She's got to go to the city to a heart specialist." And they called for the helicopter.
We stayed up with her there in the hospital. I went 54 hours without going to bed because I wanted to be there. We did everything we could. The doctors knew, they would shake their head.
They came and told my family that they were going to have to do something, or I was going to die anyway. So they did open heart surgery and put in a pacemaker and a defibrillator. I met the doctor that put the pacemaker and the defibrillator in. He said to me, "This will keep you alive because the last half of my heart is dead." And so my pacemaker is really keeping my heart going. And while we were there, my husband said to him, he said, "Are you from India?" He said, "Yes, I am." He said, "Well, do you know Mark Buntain?" And he said, "I'm from Calcutta, and that's where I went to school. And I was able to get scholarships and grants to come over here because of my grades." And he said, "That's where I became a doctor."
Here's a guy that God had in his plan years ago to be there at the right place at the right time.
And I never really even gave it a thought that one day one of those children would be keeping me alive because of his education and because of what God had given him in way of talent. And to think that he was preparing Dr. Joseph for me many years down the road, I am so grateful.
God spoke to somebody in one of our churches to support him that time at $15 a month. God had a plan knowing that we would need him, one of his children would need him in Oklahoma City.
And I thank God for the people and the churches that keep on supporting these children. We just never know who we're going to touch, what's going to become of them. And I thank God for the faithfulness of the Buntains through all these years that they believed. And now these children have a chance too.